Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 16-Bitchin' podcast, part of the Retro Refresh family. And yes, it's just me again today. As I said recently, I'm just having 2 or 3 episodes of the podcast where it's just me, no interviewing anyone else, just because of work and other stuff. There's not really a convenient time to organise with other people. It's just whenever I get a free moment, I'm doing this. This is one of them free moments, so I'm taking hold of it and talking about stuff I want to talk about. And oh my god, the free games today. Oh, these are all games I am currently playing. But the indie game, I cannot wait to talk about the indie game. And yet it's the last game we talk about, so fuck Knuckles. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the podcasts lately. Don't forget to subscribe. Share it with friends. Share it around any way you can. The podcast is, how do I put it? I'm a bit of a pillock. I never research how other podcasts are doing. I don't check out what's trendy. I don't check out how things should be done. Recommended ways of approaching certain subjects. Talking about certain stuff. Anything you can think of that would be a good thing to research. I ain't done it. I never have. So I spoke to a couple of friends who listen to various other podcasts and asked them how my one's doing. Because I don't know how it's doing compared to others. Like, the views it gets, are those good or are they bad? I don't know. I really don't know. And they've said for my channel, it's surprisingly good, apparently. And they even proved it. I won't name other channels they've compared me to. I don't think that's fair. But I was quite astounded how well the podcast is doing. I really hope it keeps going. The podcast is a lot of fun for me. It's a good chance to unwind and just chat about games. It's just chatting. There's no pissing about. It's just talking about video games, and it's great for that. And hopefully people get a lot of enjoyment out of it for like learning about games. Maybe games they didn't know about. Maybe games that they know about, but they're like, I don't know if I want to buy it, it might be shit. So I'm there to save you money. Yay, wish someone was here to save me some fucking money, because I am permanently skint. Permanently skint. Because I keep buying video games, because I'm a twat. Any hoobs, let's get straight on with this shit today. There was another thing I was going to say, but it's evaporated from my head because I'm a rambling twat. We're going to go into the modern game. This game is the latest in the Pokemon series, and I know Pokemon talk doesn't do tremendously well on my channel, but fuck it, I've made myself this new resolution that I'm going to focus more on the things I want to do on my own bloody channel. I've got to keep that promise to myself, and I'm a big Pokemon fan. I'm a big Pokemon fan, and that's why we're going to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, for a long time, Pokemon fans out there in the world with their Facebook pages or whatever the fuck, fan this, fan that, we've all wanted the same thing. We wanted a Pokemon game in the style of Skyrim. Now, when I say in the style of Skyrim, let's broaden that term. Like an Elder Scrolls game, so it hasn't got to be in fucking winter and mountains and shit. We just want that style of gameplay with Pokemon. We've wanted that for ages. There's loads of fan art out there proving that we want that, because the old style of Pokemon games, how they're played and all that jazz, it's been overdone, and we don't want that anymore. I think it's fair to say. The only time we really want it is when it's a remake of one of the old ones. Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, remakes of Red and Blue. Well, technically it's remakes of fucking Yellow, but it's the same shit. We got Omega Sapphire, or is it Omega Ruby? We got them ones. I'm not a big fan of the Ruby and Sapphire games, but there's still a big fan base for Ruby and Sapphire, the originals. So when they were remade, hell yeah, people went mad for it. And now we've got the remake of Pearl and Diamond. I don't know how they're doing. I thought they were quite fun, but very simplistic. So yeah, when you think of the other games, the ones that aren't remakes, but are still in that old school style of Pokemon games, no one wants them anymore. We just don't. I know now it's changed a bit. If you look at Sword and Shield, the style has changed a lot, but I still find that style very boring. Very boring. If you look at fucking the new games to come out, Violet and Scarlet, I believe they're called, I have zero fucks to give. I am not interested. I really don't care. I think this whole two-sided Pokemon release thing is just done. With Red and Blue, it was done for very good reasons. One, they couldn't fit everything into one game, but that was not the reason for the game being split into a red version and a blue version. They wanted people to trade Pokemon. They wanted that to be a big thing. But if you can catch every fucking Pokemon in the game, you might not use this ability, this facility, this trading thing that was a whole new way to use the link cable for your Game Boy, other than the typical stuff like what with Tetris, 2-player, you know. So they made it so you could only get some Pokemon on one game, and you could only get some on the other. You had to trade, but it was a great idea. It worked very well. And through the years, it still worked very well. Now, it doesn't, for several reasons. One, there's too many Pokemon. There's too fucking many. I don't even know how many there is. We started off with 151. Now I feel like we got 1,551. I might be fucking right with that. I don't know. There's too many. There's too many to the point where having separate games for the trading isn't enough of a reason to get two versions, because people just look at the Pokédex and go, I ain't getting all of them, fuck that. I don't know anyone that plays Pokemon to get all the Pokemon on the Pokédex. I don't know anyone that plays Pokemon games for that. So why have two versions of something? It's pointless, it's done, I don't give a shit. And that's why I love Arceus. It's a one-game standalone thing. It doesn't have a brother or a sister game, however you want to call it. It's just that. And for years, like I said, I trailed off a bit, but like I said, people wanted a Pokemon game in the style of an Elder Scrolls game. We didn't get that. We got Pokemon in the style of Breath of the Wild. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, in case you don't know what I'm on about, but I should imagine you fucking do. It is a lot like Breath of the Wild. I mean, so much so that, one, hell yeah, it's great how similar it is, because Breath of the Wild's a great fucking game. It's amazing. This is a good game to stylize your product on. But you've done it in such a way, you've overdone it in such a way, that it shows a real lack of imagination. A severe lack of imagination. So look at it this way. Breath of the Wild. How much music was in Breath of the Wild? Very, very little. It was all about the atmosphere. Okay, I get that. You've done that here as well with Arceus. Very little music. Very little. I'm not saying there's none. I'm saying there's very little. I can't think of a track off the top of my head. Honestly, don't know what I'm going to do for the music bit in editing. That'll be interesting. Even the main menu is just so similar. It's everything has that feel. Everything has that feel. Alright, you don't get items that just break, like with Breath of the Wild, but that wouldn't work anyway. Trial. The controls, the ability to climb in environments, later fly, all of this cool stuff. It's so very similar to Breath of the Wild. In good ways, but it can't be denied it does show a severe lack of imagination. It's like the creators were following that source of material too much. I feel like that's a really bad thing with Pokemon games these days. They're so unimaginative. They're lacking majorly. And no, I'm not going into Pokemon designs. I'm not one of them idiots that goes, look at that one. That Pokemon's a talking ice cream. That's stupid. There was a lot of stupid things back in the day with Pokemon. I mean, we had a talking magnet, basically, didn't we? Pokemon designs aside, not focusing on that today, focusing on this game. So why do I think Arceus is a good game, even though I've slagged off a bit of it now? Well, I've played it. I've not done it 100%. I've got to what is probably just the first credits. I feel like there's going to be more. The game continues. I don't want to put any spoilers into it, but I've done the credits. It's the safest way I can put that. Pokemon battling is a lot tougher in this game than in others. It's not impossible, so it's not like, oh, you can only play this game if you're a die-hard Pokemon fan, or if you've played many Pokemon games, you know what you're doing. No, the Pokedex helps a lot with what moves affect what Pokemon. That's a really useful thing for me, because I'm a big fan of the original 150 Pokemon. With all these new ones, I haven't got a shitting clue what's weak against what. I really don't. So having the Pokedex help me with what moves are effective against what Pokemon is great. I highly like that. It's awesome. That's such a good thing to have. But your Pokemon seem to die so much fucking easier in this game. I mean, they really do. They just like, oh, no, one-hit wonder. One-hit wonder? It used to be a case of I was awesome for getting the one-hit wonders. Now I get them thrown at me all the fucking time. It's brilliant. Not. Right pain in the ass. But despite that, this is actually a great Pokemon game. If it's your first Pokemon game. If you're starting out, this is a good place to start out. It really is. But again, it's also a great place if you've been in it for a long time. I have played every Pokemon game there is. Alright? I'm not saying I own all of them. I own 90% of them. Something mad like that. But I have played every single one that's been officially released. I don't know about unlicensed crap. But I can say this is one of the best ones ever. The story is not boring. It hasn't done like Pokemon Sun and thrown a book worth of text and shit at me. I'm not bored reading what's going on in the game, which is good, because in Pokemon Sun, I was bored really quick and didn't give a fuck. Not a single flying fuck. Here, I'm enjoying reading it. The story's got my attention. I was quite surprised at that. I'm very pleasantly surprised, I might add. One thing I didn't like, and this is just a little thing. It's not a big thing at all. It's a little thing, but I'm going to point it out. I started off with Cyndaquil because back in the days of Silver version, I started with Cyndaquil. So the ability to start with him here, it's like, yes, mate, I'm having Cyndaquil. Thank you very much. Now he's fully evolved to Typhlosion, and because of this area, they've done this whole area Pokemon shit. If you don't know what that means, Pokemon in different areas around the world might be different a little bit. For instance, Vulpix is a fire Pokemon, but in some parts of the fictional Pokemon world, it's an ice type. And the ice type looks really cool. It does. It's a snowy fox. It looks pretty cool. Typhlosion also has a new version of itself. It's, instead of just fire, it's Fire Ghost. The flames around Typhlosion's neck are purple and wispy. And the bloody Pokemon looks half asleep. When he evolved, I honestly looked at him. I didn't realise what had happened at first. Alright, I realised he evolved, but I didn't realise that he was a different version of himself. And it was just looking at him going, what's wrong with you? Fucking wake up. Then I went into a battle and his flames were purple. I'm like, what's happened? It's not a fire type anymore. It's fire something else. Oh, I don't like it. I don't. But this, again, it's a pet peeve. I'm not a fan of that. But again, it's a little thing. But I just wanted to point it out. The side missions in the game. I have to mention the side missions. I am not a big fan of side missions, side quests, bonus shit like that. In any video game, I've never been a fan of it. Grand Theft Auto games. Never been a fan of it. Zelda games, I will do the odd one, but that's it. I like the main quest. I'm about the main quest and fucking off and doing what I want, which doesn't involve the side quests. Pokemon Arceus, however, I'm enjoying the side quests because they affect this village that the game's sort of based around. When you start, the village is just humans. Humans cowering from the Pokemon because they're dangerous. They're strange animals with these almighty powers and they're dangerous. It's like, well, this is fucking weird. This game's sort of set in the past, in case you didn't know that. I should have mentioned that sooner, sorry. But it's based in the past, so people are afraid of things they don't understand. They don't understand certain Pokemon, so they're afraid of them. And by doing these side quests, you're helping the community become more of humans and Pokemons living together in harmony, blah, blah, blah. I know, typical bullshit friendship crap. But it's really cool how, because of you, certain Pokemon are in the area. Like, there's a farm quest bit. Matey is struggling like fuck, trying to sort out these fields for crops. You know what I did? I gave him a Rhyhorn. Was it a Rhyhorn or a Rhydon? I think it was a Rhyhorn. I gave him that and said, there you are. Have that. And now you see the Pokemon in the fields. He's happy as hell. And he's like, instead of it just being this bullshit person, there's a fucking Pokemon there. All the time. In the farm bit. That's quite cool. There's some weird bitch that's trying to sort out, I don't know what, cooking. And she wanted an animal to help her squash down stuff. I gave her a Geodude. Seems like I'm giving away a lot of rock Pokemon, I know. But it were weird. But it were cool. And you also get alpha Pokemon. When you go out hunting for Pokemon, finally the battle system has been improved greatly. It needed it for the longest time. It needed revamping. They've finally done it. The battle system here is a lot better. But like I said, your Pokemon die a bit too easy. Never mind, but it is a thing. But when going Pokemon hunting, you can also find alpha Pokemon. Now, what's an alpha Pokemon? Well, description-wise in terms of visuals, it's any type of Pokemon, but their eyes are glowing red. Their stats are through the roof compared to their others. They tend to be bigger. And I found what was it? Something stupidly pathetic. Alpha Buizel? It's a water-type Pokemon. I can't remember how to pronounce the name. Caught that. It was bigger than the normal one. Mission. Guy wanted to see Pokemon different sizes. Showed him that. That was pretty cool. Then I went around one day hunting around and I found an alpha Snorlax. Now, Snorlax is a Pokemon that means a lot to me because of Nuzlocke challenges I've done in the past. Snorlax always seems to come by and save my ass. Whilst following the Nuzlocke rules, of course. It's like, holy shit, Snorlax is my spirit Pokemon. And that says a lot about me. Except for the fact that I get no sleep. Fucking none. You would think I'm some sort of PC gaming insomniac, but I'm not. I just don't get to sleep because of a busy life. Anyways, I found an alpha Snorlax. Had to catch it. Then a little while later, I come across someone in the battle and they send out a Snorlax. I'm like, alright then, have some of that. I wanted to see Snorlax versus Snorlax. Fucking hell, my one was huge compared to this person's. It was like, Jesus! It's like a bear versus a teddy bear. It was nuts. But it was awesome. There are so many things about Pokemon Arceus that set it apart from all the other games. I do feel it's a bit dumb. I know I keep calling it Pokemon Arceus, yet it's actually Pokemon Legends, Arceus Legends, Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter. Arceus, you know what I'm talking about. It's weird how they've got this new game, this new style that I think is very good, very successful, can be improved upon. Yes, but it's the first of this kind for the Pokemon Company, so I'm not going to rip on it harshly for things that should be better, should be different, should be ironed out, because at the end of the day, it's the first one. You know, you've got to start somewhere, for fuck's sake. But I don't understand why, if they've done this, they've also done this Scarlet and Violet that's in the old style. It's like, no, we don't want any more of this two-part game shit. Yeah, I know it'll be more like Sword and Shield than fucking Sun or Moon, but it's still the same crap, and it's still going to be kind of naff. Not to mention, I've seen the starter Pokemon for Scarlet and Violet, and I know I said earlier I wouldn't rip on Pokemon design, but I think all of these starter Pokemon look like shit. I'm sorry. I think they do. They just do. Also, we're at a point, you think about it, back in the day, yeah, you had to pick from free Pokemon. Why have we still got to pick from free? That's a tradition that doesn't make any sense. Surely by now it should be more. We should have a wider variety. Fire, yes. Plant, yes. Water, yes. You know what else? Fucking ghost. Electric. Some sort of dragon. A rock. Anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be free anymore. We've got the tech to handle higher numbers. But apparently we haven't. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about Pokemon Arceus because I don't want to cover the story. I don't want to spoil the story. It's a good, interesting story, and it's the first one we've had, in my opinion, from Pokemon games in a good while. A really good while. So, if you're familiar with Pokemon games and you want something different, try this one. If you've never tried a Pokemon game and you're afraid to try it because it's a bit overwhelming, the amount of crap to a Pokemon game, this is a good place to start. It really is a good place to start. For instance, my friend Tom, Do You Nerd, never played a Pokemon game. He never got into it, he never tried it, he's never played one. This would be a great place for him to start. I know he won't, but it would still be a great place for him to start. Anyway, that is our modern game. We're going to move along swiftly now to our retro game. Now, this is one I wanted to talk about for a while, but I didn't know how to talk about it in any great detail. So this won't be a long segment of the podcast, but it doesn't matter because, again, I'm just really looking forward to talking about the indie game, so I thought this would be a good way to fit this in. This is Shanghai. In the name of screaming fuck, what is Shanghai? Well, it's one of the first video game adaptations of the tile-based game that is Mahjong. More specifically, Mahjong Solitaire. It's essentially a puzzle game we're talking about today. The gameplay involves 144 tiles, each depicting different images, which have to be removed by matching them into pairs. The tiles are arranged in a gridded pattern, which is higher near the center. A tile can only be removed if it has no tile next to it, at least on one of the sides. The good thing about this game, the Master System one, is that the computer has the ability to... Well, it's got a randomizer, basically. So the layout of the tiles is always the same. It's always the same way they're stacked, the same design. What do they call it? I think some people call this style, this formation, classic, or what's the other one? I think it's turtle. I think it's turtle. I might be wrong. It might be fucking tortoise or some shit like that. But basically throughout the whole game, it's always that. It's always in that layout. But what tile goes where is randomized. Very, very successfully so. There's tournaments and all this other shit, but if you let the game run at the main menu, it actually gives you a basic lesson on how to play the game. I can't remember how the fuck I discovered Shanghai or Mahjong. You'll see many games like DS ones, Wii ones, they're called Mahjong, but they are essentially Shanghai, which is the name for Mahjong Solitaire, the one-player Mahjong. Right? There is normal Mahjong that involves many people. There is also Mahjong that's one player. We're on about the one player today. I'm trying to make that very clear. As I say, the rules, very simple. It's just stacks of these tiles, and you have to pair them up. And it's not a case of, oh, I see this one here with, let's describe one of the patterns. It's like a red line with a red square. So it's a red line going through a red square. That's called the red dragon. I don't know the names of all the things. It really doesn't fucking matter. If you've ever seen the film Red Dragon, the serial killer who calls himself the Red Dragon carves this symbol in a tree. So you may have seen it and not known about it. It's a Mahjong tile, basically. If you see one of them in the game, you have to match it with the exact same image. So another Red Dragon. It's not a case of, I see one there, I see one there. No, they have to have a space on either the left or the right of them. That's simply it. It's just pairs. This game is essentially fucking pairs. So why am I talking about it when it's a fucking Chinese version of Snap, but tiles instead of cards? Well, the game is very addictive. It's very addictive, but it's also incredibly relaxing. I can't remember how I came across Shanghai, how I discovered it. But I found it to be very relaxing in a time that was quite stressful for me. And I still play this game from time to time. I've got 2 copies, Master System ones. I've got one in the collection, stacked with all the others. And I've got one upstairs, where I am now, in my recording studio, or editing studio, rather. It's just a loose cart. If I get stressed out, fucked off, pissed off, anything, bung it on, play some Shanghai. In fact, I think I took the piss out of Shanghai in my ASMR April Fool's video. Yes, I've only ever done one one ASMR video. It was April Fool's. All right, don't worry, that's not a thing that I do, in case you didn't know. I don't think the Master System one was the first Shanghai game I got in the collection. I discovered it somehow, as I said, I can't remember. Played it a bunch on something. There's one on the 3DS. That's a great game. The ability to use a stylus, so much quicker and easier for selecting the tiles. I know 3DS and games like that aren't going to be a thing you can buy for much longer. Get Mahjong. Yes, it's called Mahjong on the 3DS instead of Shanghai, but whatever. Stay with me on this. Get Mahjong for your 3DS. There's many versions. Just pick what one you like. Get it while you can, because you won't be able to for very long. It's a brilliant game. Great puzzle game. Very relaxing. Colourful. The music, the one I have on 3DS is quite relaxing. The one on Master System, it's a bit annoying, if I'm honest. It's not crap, but it's overly upbeat for what it is. It's maybe a relaxing game. Stop being so fucking bouncy and cheery. But when I discovered there was one on Master System, I was like, oh my god, there's a Shanghai game on the fucking Master System? Buy now! And I did. The first one I found in great condition. Mine, very happy to say, didn't cost a lot because it's a simple puzzle game and there wasn't a small amount of them made. There was a lot of them made. The funny thing is there are Shanghai games on the Mega Drive, but not in PAL territories, I believe. There's a Genesis one, at least one, and in Japan there's about fucking 6 trillion on everything, ever. I mean, there's a nutty amount of Mahjong. In fact, if you have a Switch, there is a best of Mahjong? Fuck it, there's several Mahjong games you can get on the Switch. Some of them are a bit pervy. There's some anime girls, and it's like, yeah, this is meant to be a puzzle game. What the fuck is this girl doing? Oh, no. And that's on the Switch. There's a lot of Mahjong and Shanghai games that relate to a bit of strip Mahjong. Yeah, that's normally not the Mahjong Solitaire version that does that, but it is there. It is. How long has Mahjong been around as a game? Because obviously it didn't start out as a video game. It started out as a... would you call it a board game? I don't know. It's a tile-based game, as I say, so... You know, like dominoes is a tile. A Mahjong tile, similar sort of size, shape, feel as a domino. Hope that helps in case you've never heard of Mahjong or Shanghai. That's what that shit is. It's a little tile like a domino tile. Obviously, I'm talking about the Master System one today because I'm a fucking idiot for Master System. I'm just nuts for it. But I would love it if anyone listening today went on their favourite console and just bought, because they're cheap, a Shanghai or Mahjong game and gave it a try. And saw what they thought. It's so damn relaxing, it's great. And the funny thing is, right, this is mad, my kids have a Switch, each of them. And my daughter wanted a new game, and she can't quite read yet. She still struggles. It's partially she just gets overwhelmed and then doesn't want to try. Anyway, there was a Mahjong game on sale on the digital store. I bought her the fucking thing, taught her how to do it. She's addicted. She's mad for it. She won't raise the difficulty because she's at that age where she doesn't want too much of a challenge. She just wants to enjoy the fucking game. And that's fine. Easy mode isn't in games because it's a way of saying, haha, if you pick this, you're a pussy. No, it's there because if you're not enjoying the game on any other mode, play it on this one. It's there to enjoy. It's a video game. You bought it to enjoy it. Play it on whatever fucking setting you want. That's what easy mode is. Right? So, there you go. Shanghai. What more can I say other than the fact that it's a puzzle game that I wish more people would try. As I said earlier, I can't go into a great detail about it because of what it is. It's not hugely detailed. Always wanted to talk about it, though. Not to mention that I've got quite a few Shanghai games in the collection. An unhealthy amount, in fact. They're all the same. It's all just Shanghai. Imagine if you were someone that collected poker games. How many poker games do you need? You collect poker games. You got a lot of poker games. Guess what? It's all fucking poker. What's this game? It's poker. What's that one? It's poker. How about this one you're going to buy? It's poker. It's like me with Shanghai or Mahjong. It's a strange obsession that I can't justify. I can't justify it. You only need one copy. Which, to be honest, my favourite one, still the 3DS one, as I said. And yet, people aren't going to be able to get hold of it soon because the one I'm thinking of is digital only, which is a pisser. There is one on Nintendo Wii, by the way, which is pretty good with the Wiimote. It's not bad, but the 3DS one is still simpler because stylus. Anyway, we are moving on. We've done our modern game. We've done our retro game. Nice short little segment. Not going to go on anymore because I know I'll repeat myself like a fucking idiot, although I probably did a little bit anyway. Sorry if I did. Now we're going on to the indie game. I am so excited to talk about this. I might have rushed to this point. I don't care. I love playing indie games. I put in a lot of effort into trying to discover new indie games. Partially for this podcast, yes, but also because I believe indie games are so much more imaginative than the AAA games. They have this luxury to not be hampered down or crippled by company, business, money-making schemes and all this shit. Someone out there wanted to make a game. They found like-minded individuals. Sometimes they didn't. Sometimes it's an indie game made by one person. This case, no, it's made by a team. But this game's... This game, let's just go into it. The last day of June. Last Day of June is centered around a couple called Carl and June. Carl and June are in love. I don't know if they're married, I don't know if they're just boyfriend and girlfriend, but they are in love, and deeply so. The game starts off by showing you this. Soon after, it shows you that something horrible has happened. June is clearly gone. She's died. How did she die? Here's the thing. To review this game, I have to say some spoilers, but it will be a minimal amount. Minimal amount. The kind you would only find out through the first 20 minutes of playing the game. Not important to the game as a whole, but because the game is so focused on story, it's kind of hard not to have a little bit of spoilers. But before we walk into spoiler territory, let's just cover the simple things. The music. As you heard already, the music is fantastic. It's really well orchestrated. I love it. I've bought the soundtrack. Yes, I had to. I've been listening to it at work. The graphics... Some people may remember from the earliest episodes of the podcast that I've established I have a bit of an obsession with the season that is autumn or fall. I like the orange colours, the browns, the golds, all of that. It's my favourite time of year. In the last day of June, by the way, I will keep doing this mistake, calling it the last day of June. Technically, it's not. It's called last day of June. There's no the. But I keep saying it. I don't know why. Anyway, it's got a lot of the autumn colour scheme going on. It's really well done. There's a slight blurring effect to everything. A sort of distortion in image, but not... It's not a sign of bad programming. It's not a sign that someone didn't know what they were doing. It's an artistic style that they've gone for, and I really like it. It's a very sunset, twilight sort of theme going on. It's really nice. Visually, very appealing. The graphics, they're not super high detailed, but they are far from bad. The weird thing when it comes to visuals is the character design. Now, all of the characters within this game speak in a language that can only be described as bullshit. I'm going to give you a very accurate example of what the people sound like when they're speaking. Okay? Here we go. That was a conversation between two people and it was all bullshit. But that's what the people sound like in Last Day of June. Why? I don't know. Haven't got a fucking clue. The game has very minimal text. Very minimal. But again, it clearly doesn't have any spoken language. So maybe this was the game creator's way of trying to get it to appeal to multiple countries, multiple cultures, without having to do loads of translation bollocks. In which case, it's pretty fucking clever, because I would say that it's worked. You've only got to change a little bit of text when it comes to pick up this, or end day, or some bollocks like that. But that's their voices. How do the people look? Well, they all look like big head mode. So normal bodies, stupidly large heads. What's weird, right? No one has any mouths. No one has a mouth. No one has any fucking eyes. But it's not like a case of there's nothing there. No, there's eye sockets without any eyes. It's a bit fucking creepy, if you ask me. It is. Everyone looks a little bit fucking creepy. The funny thing is, me and my wife were playing this game. While I was playing it, she was watching, but we were both thoroughly enjoying it. You ask her, she was really getting into it. She's like, can we play more Last Day of June? Can we play more tonight? Yeah, defo. So she was getting into it. The funny thing is, the couple, Carl and June, look a lot like me and my wife. Carl is a bald-headed idiot, a dopey, clumsy git. The only difference, mainly, in his appearance to mine is he wears these big-ass glasses. I clearly don't. Charlie looks a hell of a lot like June. I mean, a lot like June, although she has eyeballs. So there's the visuals, there's the graphics. The gameplay is a case of third-person view. Go here, get this, talk to that person, blah-de-blah, that kind of shit. All right, we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a minute. But right now, we are going to go into the story a bit. Okay? Now, as we've established, starts off, Carl and June, very much in love. And then everything goes wrong. Why does everything go wrong? Carl and June are driving home from the lake when the weather starts to go bad. And you don't know what happens. You don't see what happens right away. But there's a car crash. June dies. Carl, he's crippled. He's in the wheelchair for the rest of the game, really. He's stuck in a wheelchair. So, this is quite tragic. And it's a really sad story, the way it's portrayed like this. Then zooms to present day. Carl looks at the chair next to his, an armchair next to his armchair. There's no one sitting in it anymore. It's just him in this big house, and he's on his own. He reaches for his wheelchair. He goes through his house till he gets to a room where there's loads of June's paintings. She had painted all the people from the village, separate paintings for each individual. Carl goes up to one of the paintings, and something happens. Something strange. He touches the painting, and he travels back in time, but not to himself. The individual that he had touched in the painting, it was just a picture, a painting, of the young boy of the village, the boy who wanted to play football. Carl is now seeing the past of what happened. He's remembering. The boy was playing football in the village. His football rolled into the road. He went and got it. You see Carl and June coming along in their car. They swerve out of the way to avoid hitting the boy. They succeed. The boy is safe. They are not. They've gone off into the woods, and that's obviously when the accident happened. That is when June dies. Then it flashes back to Carl, and he realizes he just traveled through time. Essentially traveled through time. He had seen what had happened. He touches the painting again. Now you have the ability to change this. This game teaches a very valuable lesson. Some things that have happened, some things that have happened in life, we cannot change. We cannot do anything about them. But we can change certain elements to these events. We can change the way things have happened around them. That's what this game teaches. June has died. The aim of the game is to save her by changing certain events. So here is the little spoiler you will get. You start off, as we said, the first time going back, you are now the boy. The aim here is to change the reason for the boy going into the road. He went into the road because the fucking football went in the road. Through this level, essentially, you will try to talk to other people, get someone to play football with the boy. You can't. No one wants to play football with him. But you find an old man that says, I'll play with you, but not football, because he's an old man. He's crippled. You find a kite. You play with the old man with the kite. Then the boy doesn't go into the road. Carl is zoomed back to the present. He looks around thinking, I've saved June. The boy wasn't in the road anymore. He looks to the armchair next to him. She's still not there. He looks to the left. His wheelchair still is there. He had changed the past. But June still died. Why? Why did she still die if the boy wasn't in the road? Carl gets into the chair, rushes as quick as he can in a wheelchair to the room with the paintings and finds another painting, glowing, waiting for him. He goes to press that one to see another event that happened instead. It's a butterfly effect. By changing one thing in the past, something else occurred. So June still died. The aim of the game is to change enough events in the right way. There'll be a lot of going back and forth to make this happen. The story in this game, I cannot go into any more detail without spoiling it. I do not want to do that. I just wanted to give you that little bit to grip you, to reel you in. You've learnt the little bit about what happens with the boy in the football. It's not really a big deal. I had to describe some of it. I think that was the best thing to cover. They are with the story. I'm not telling you anymore. I'm sorry. You're going to have to play the game. It's fucking cheap, though. That's a bonus. Such a great story. Oh, don't get me wrong. I completed the game in 2 evenings, and I got stuck. How many times did I get stuck? I think I only got stuck once. There was one time when I found myself wandering around a bit, but it was like, oh, no, wait, I know where I got to go. I know where I got to go. But I was properly stuck at one point for like half hour to 45 minutes. I was so set that there's this certain thing I know I have to do. I was wrong. When I kept failing, I thought, think outside the box. Maybe I don't change the past for this person so much. Maybe I change it a little bit for that one, and then this person's time change with that person's time, make an entirely different event happen? Maybe? And I was right. When I started thinking outside the box, like, oh, I can't. There's me thinking you change this person's past. Then you change this person's past. Then you change... No, you may go back and forth a bit. But that's fine. It works really well. Here are the flaws of the game, because I've praised it like fuck, so I should point out some things that wound me up. 1, you go back in time a lot. You see certain events again and again. Like when I was trying to correct certain events with the boy, for example, I can't give away a certain thing I saw many times, so I'll just say this one as an example. The ball going into the road. You see that event again and again because you're trying to change it. You're like, I didn't change it. Oh, I should have done this. It's happened that way again. I know what to do. I know what to do. You can't skip the cunting event. That's the only thing that pisses me off. If I've seen an event once, I don't necessarily want to see it 78 fucking times. There's no skip button. I understand for the first time there shouldn't be a skip button, because if I accidentally skip it, oh shit, what happened? Well, I totally get that. But the second time you should activate the ability to skip or fast forward, you know what I mean? That ability isn't there. It should be. It's not a huge fault, but it is a bit like, yeah, I get to see the fucking football again. That's one of the 2 big failings. The other one is the loading. Why is there so much fucking loading? I had the PS4 version. Maybe there's another version out there that doesn't load as much. This one, my God, I saw a lot of loading. Like, it was a dumb amount. It shouldn't have been that much. It wasn't a case of every time it loaded for a really long time. No, it wasn't too bad. But it was too often. It was crap in that regard. But it's a very cheap game. I think I got it for No, I got it on an indie sale on the PS4 store, but I think normally it goes for about $5. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Graphically, it's quite a nice game. It's very appealing to look at. Musically, as I say, I bought the soundtrack, so that tells you something. I spent actual money on something that wasn't the game. Right? Again, hoping that it would support the game creators in another way other than just buying the game. The soundtrack's more expensive than the fucking game. Sad, but hey. Also, the story, as amazing as it really is a great story, doesn't have much in the way of branching paths. So, when you've beaten the game once, its replayability is knocked right the fuck down. But then again, when I think of a game that I've mentioned in the past, Firewatch, I love Firewatch. Firewatch is an awesome game. I've played that numerous times. It's the same shit. Hardly anything changes. So you would think next to no replayability, but I've replayed it many times. So last day of June, I'll probably replay it again one day. And hell, even if I don't, I know I got my money's worth with that story. Fucking hell did I get my money's worth. Funny thing is, I've seen some things online of people trying to describe what they thought was happening with the ending. So what do you mean what you thought was happening with the ending? It's all time travel. And people are saying, I reckon it's the personification of someone's misery and their torment trying to... What are you on about? It's time travel. Honestly, some of the descriptions I've heard of what people think happened in the ending, and they're saying it's not time travel. It's like, it is, you're overthinking it. Just because he doesn't have a fucking time machine. It's like, why would he go to a painting, press it, and he's gone back in time? What do you mean, why? It's a fucking video game. It doesn't have to make all that sense. Time travel's bullshit and everything. But it doesn't fucking matter. It's all about enjoying the story, enjoying the game. And I did, and I don't understand why there's so many people out there trying to make this big fucking excuse to make a walkthrough design of why the fuck they think that Carl isn't really here or some shit. They think he's the ghost of June's misery and he's not really there because the world he's in, when he's in present day, it's very dark and gloomy. It's not a case of him being the personification of misery. No. The world around him is dark and miserable because that's just a great way to portray his mindset. The woman he loved is dead. Rather than just show him being miserable, it's showing like what the world is to him. It's without colour. It's without meaning. It's pointless without her. That's all it is. For fuck's sake. It just gets a bit stupid. Before I end it, there's one more thing I want to say. As I said, the facial features of these people are a little bit creepy. There's no fucking eyes. There's no fucking mouths. Carl goes through a lot in this game. He goes through a lot. In many different events that I'm not going to list because, again, I'm not spoiling it. The emotion. The range of emotions portrayed from Carl is astounding when he doesn't change his facial expression. Shock. Fear. Rage. Just pure misery. All of these emotions are shown on this individual in truly incredible ways because he doesn't have any change in facial expression. Yet somehow the game creators have nailed it. The game is fantastic. It's truly awesome. And I'm going to keep repeating myself if I don't end it here. I really hope someone out there will try this game. So today we've spoken about Pokémon Legends of Arceus, a game that I am truly happy with because I've waited the longest time for Pokémon to hurry up and come out with a game that was different and new and inventive. They've finally done it. Finally, it took long enough, but they got there. Shanghai, I just wanted to share a little sad obsession and talk about a game that I think is great for relaxing to, and if you want a cheap game to relax to, it's on everything. It's on everything. And last day of June, the ultimate example as to video games as art, as far as I'm fucking concerned. There you are. Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the 16 Bitchin' Podcast, found on YouTube and a bunch of other fucking places. I hope you enjoyed this one today, and I'll talk to you again very soon.